like it. I like grassroots marketing. I respect this so much because this is what I did.
Right.
You know, be a part of street teams, hanging up posters and stuff like that. You know, and
Yeah, it's a connection to you.
it's a connection.
Yeah.
And it's not something that's appreciative anymore because that doesn't exist anymore. But I'm a dinosaur when it comes down to the way things used to be.
Right.
Like we were born in the era of cassettes and CDs. It doesn't exist anymore.
Was I?
Yes, you were.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, you were. Yes. Because you were not born in the era of 8-track.
No.
Did you snarl? Did you snuff your nose at 8-track? I am appalled. I came in at the death of disco and the beginning of hip hop. That's the reason why. Now we're going there. That is the reason why the 80s is the best decade, because the origination of the culture starts there.
I appreciate that. That's it. Originators, okay. But how do we level up, though? We always have to level up. We appreciate the beginnings. We appreciate the pioneers. But how do we move forward? How we make it better? I mean, as far as drawing more attention and bridging the gap, bridging the different cultures. Because, again, we're going to be dinosaurs. I mean, people in the 80s are starting to be dinosaurs now.
Easy.
I mean, as far as age.
Easy now.
As far as age. So how do we bridge the gap with Gen Z? So.
Well, my approach is different than what others have said. A few others said it. My approach is that there is a reclamation of intellectual property that needs to take place prior to making it better. You see what I'm saying?
I think.
Like it's not a nature of, okay, you did this, now let's improve on the platform. Technically, we have no platform to improve on because we don't own it.
Right.
So if there's a reclamation, then there is also a council meeting that has to be forced in order to make sure that there is some establishment of the foundation.
Okay.
Whatever cracks need to be patched, so be it.
Oh, yeah.
And then after that, you can make it better.
Honor the foundation.
And right now we don't have any. We have people who created something that don't own the rights to their creation. So whoever is listening to their music, they're not being paid for it. We've seen it with De La Soul. We've seen it with others, as well.
Yeah.
They finally got the masters back. The masters meeting is, in terms of rap, is now at the forefront of the conversation. But the label has...
Because we ain't going to talk about them bull contracts back then.
25 years was in the writing of how long it took for you to be able to be eligible to reclaim your intellectual property. That's appalling. You're already getting artists, and artists are already wrought with peril, psychological issues, and drug dependencies on an average. I'm not saying everyone, but on average. So Jimmy's 20, perfect example, and I love me some Jimmy. So Jimi Hendrix is 27 years old when he dies.
Right. That's the death age, I think.
That's the death age. That's the magical age of death. Kurt Cobain, Jimi Hendrix, Alice in Chains, lead singer, escapes my memory. Right. So if you're getting into that Shannon Hoon, Blind Melon, I listen to a lot of music. So
oh yeah, I'm a music fan. So yeah.
But when you get into that era, you reach that age. Well, if they didn't own their masters, and they didn't, and clearly Polygram, Unigram, or whoever owned it, Jimmy would have to be 50 years old, 52 to be exact, in order to be eligible for his own music. And that's pathetic when it comes down to the contracts that one would have signed versus, how the label has used you. The platform, the foundation is cracked, or it doesn't exist.
Been cracked. Shoot.
Now we can get into who owns rock and roll, black people. We can get into who owns rock and roll, but
music in general. What you mean?
In general.
Shoot.
But ideally, that's kind of Hassan's opinion on how we improve.
Right.
Because otherwise, you're just taking an art form and mutating it to suit your need. And that's also insulting. Because somebody made that. It's like taking your granny's house and saying, we don't need 2 rooms. That's insulting. You know what I mean? But it's all fair knowing that it's our fault. I was actually a part of my friend's podcast last night. I said the same thing. I said, this is our fault. A, we don't own much. Cool. Now, what we do own in terms of a standard, we have allowed to be altered. We didn't protest. We didn't have enough influence to push. We just said, okay, this sucks. This is bad, but we'll allow it. And even more so, people have been paid in order to vouch for it when in true form, If it was their personal consumption, they wouldn't have. No OG would vouch for the new young person producing, quote unquote, less than, standard music.
Listen.
They got paid for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you serve as an influencer to the trash marketing that is being put out there, but you can't complain about it now. You can't. You're a part of the marketing scheme. So we allowed that. That's our fault.
Yeah.
In terms of the standard to be mutated and for it to be pushed out in the direction that it's going.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't blame anybody. We just have to live with it. In order to improve it, reclaim it. Then talk.
Reclaim the throne.
Yes. Man. Tinfoil hat coming soon, ladies and gentlemen. Conspiracy Theory Social Club. That's the name.